Fallen angels descending from the heavens, defying the limits set by God, marrying human women and giving rise to a generation of giants who walked the earth. Terrifying prophecies announcing divine judgment, heavenly revelations that lead us to question the mysteries of the universe. These are not works of fiction or ancient legends. They are the accounts found in the mysterious Book of Enoch, an ancient and enigmatic text that has intrigued scholars, religious thinkers, and curious minds for centuries. But there is something even more fascinating. Why was this book excluded from the Bible? Does it really have something to teach us? Or was it set aside because it contains information that was never meant to be revealed? Today, we will explore the mysteries of this book. Who was Enoch? What was his special relationship with God? What is in its pages that has caused so much fascination? Today, you will find all the answers you have been searching for. And have you heard about the Book of Enoch? Do you believe it was excluded for theological, political, or perhaps more mysterious reasons? Let us know in the comments. Stay with us until the end and uncover truths that could change the way you see Scripture, strengthen your faith, and inspire your spiritual journey. Enoch is one of the most intriguing figures in the Bible, mentioned briefly but with a profound impact. He first appears in the book of Genesis as the seventh descendant of Adam, the son of Jared and the great-grandfather of Noah. Despite being mentioned in only a few passages, his story carries a mystery that continues to inspire generations to this day. In Genesis 5:24, we read something extraordinary. Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more because God took him away. This verse leaves us with more questions than answers. What does it mean that he walked with God? Why did he not experience death like others? It is as if Enoch served as a bridge between the human and the divine, someone who lived in such profound intimacy with God that he was taken directly to be with him. The New Testament reinforces this special view of Enoch. In Hebrews 11:5, he is mentioned in the Hall of Faith heroes. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life so that he did not experience death. He could not be found because God had taken him away. For before he was taken, he was commended as one who pleased God. Here, Enoch is presented as an example of faith and obedience, someone whose life reflected complete trust in God's plan. But it is in Jude 1:14-15 that Enoch becomes even more fascinating. He is described as a prophet, declaring words that echo the final judgment. Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied about them. See, the Lord is coming with thousands upon thousands of his holy ones to judge everyone. This shows us that Enoch was not only close to God, but also a bearer of prophetic messages, warning of divine judgment and justice. Why was Enoch chosen to live such a unique life and bear such impactful prophecies? Perhaps his life serves as a reminder that God seeks people willing to walk with him in obedience and faith, even in times of great corruption. Enoch lived in an era when humanity was turning away from God, yet his communion with the Creator made him shine as a unique example of devotion. And it is precisely this extraordinary life and relationship with God that lead us to the mysterious book that bears his name. What exactly does this book contain? What secrets does it reveal about heaven, earth, and divine judgment? Now let us delve into its mysteries. The Book of Enoch is one of the most mysterious and fascinating ancient texts attributed to Noah's great-grandfather. It provides a detailed narrative of the interaction between the heavenly and earthly realms, revealing events that profoundly shaped humanity's spiritual history. Divided into 5 sections, it covers themes such as the fall of the angels, the Nephilim, divine judgment, and the origins of sin, blending natural and supernatural elements. One of the most striking aspects of the book is the story of the Watcher angels. These angels, sent by God to care for humanity, disobeyed the Creator and took human women as wives. This act gave rise to a generation of giants known as the Nephilim, described as powerful beings who brought destruction and chaos. In Enoch 7:2 we read, "And they took for themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go into them and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments, and they bore great giants." These giants consumed the earth's resources, leading to violence and devastation in creation, as described in the following verse. They devoured everything that the people labored to produce until it became impossible to feed them. Moreover, the fallen angels taught humanity forbidden knowledge, such as the arts of war, weapon making, and the use of metals. In Enoch 8:1 we read, "And Azazel taught men to make swords, and knives, and shields, and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them." They also introduced magic, astrology, and even the use of cosmetics, diverting humanity from God's purpose and leading to moral and spiritual corruption. These acts not only broke divine order, but also accelerated the decline of creation. Another central theme of the book is divine judgment. Enoch, as a prophet, is taken by angels into heavenly visions where he witnesses God's throne and the final fate of the righteous and the wicked. In Enoch 1:9 he describes, "Behold, he comes with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment upon them, and destroy the wicked, and reprove all the carnal for everything which the sinful and ungodly have done and committed against him." This vision echoes Jude 1:14-15 and emphasizes the certainty of divine judgment, bringing hope to the righteous and a warning to the rebellious. The Book of Enoch also offers glimpses of the celestial realms and God's majesty. It narrates journeys to the heavens where mysteries of creation are observed, underscoring God's sovereignty over the cosmos. Each revelation seems to highlight God's holiness in contrast to humanity's corruption. But what makes the Book of Enoch so controversial? It is the fact that it unveils a detailed story exposing the depths of human sin and God's intervention to restore order. It was widely read by communities such as the Essenes and influenced New Testament writings, but it was excluded from the biblical canon. These themes raise a fundamental question. If the Book of Enoch reveals so much, why was it excluded from the biblical canon? That is what we will now explore. First, we need to understand something. The inclusion of a book in the Bible was not a random process. It needed to be recognized as inspired by God, align with the teachings of the faith, and be accepted by religious communities over the centuries. In the case of the Book of Enoch, although it was popular in some communities, especially among the Essenes and early Christians, it was never universally accepted. Official Judaism, for example, did not consider it part of the canon, and this already raised doubts about its inclusion in the Christian canon. Another reason lies in the book's content. It describes events that do not fully align with other biblical passages. For example, the account of the fall of the angels and the giants known as the Nephilim in Genesis 6 is briefly addressed in the Bible. But in the Book of Enoch, there is a deep dive into these events, with details about the watcher angels who disobeyed God, married human women, and taught forbidden secrets, such as weapon making and the practice of magic. Although fascinating, these details were considered by many religious leaders as mythology, something that could divert focus from the Bible's main message. Another point that contributed to its exclusion was the book's detailed apocalyptic visions. Enoch describes the heavens, God's throne, and the final judgment in such a symbolic and mysterious way that some found these visions difficult to interpret. For the religious leaders of the time, this made the text less reliable as a divinely inspired revelation. Historically, the Book of Enoch was widely read during the period between the Old and New Testaments, and the Dead Sea Scrolls show that it was important to some Jewish communities, such as the Essenes. However, it was rejected by official Judaism and over time lost influence. Among Christians, particularly in Ethiopia, the text continued to be valued and even influenced the New Testament, as seen in the Epistle of Jude, which echoes its prophecies. But prominent church leaders, such as Origen and Tertullian, began questioning its divine inspiration, which led to its exclusion from the canon. Another important factor was the cultural context. The Book of Enoch reflects much of the apocalyptic mindset of the era in which it was written, with a style that seemed closer to legends or speculative literature. For many, its content was considered too bold and incompatible with the Bible's central message. But this does not mean the Book of Enoch is irrelevant. It remains a fascinating piece of theological history and helps us better understand the beliefs of ancient times. Its detailed descriptions of biblical events offer a unique context, but always reminding us that the Bible has a clear and central message: redemption through Christ. However, even outside the Bible, this book continues to challenge our understanding of the relationship between the divine and the human. And this leads us to the next point. What is the impact of this book today? Although the Book of Enoch is not part of the Bible, it continues to spark curiosity and offers deep reflections that can enrich our understanding of biblical history and spirituality. But does it still have something to teach us today? One of the book's most striking themes is the struggle between good and evil. The fall of the Watcher angels and the corruption they brought show us the consequences of disobedience to God and the impact of sin on the world. This narrative reminds us that sin is not just an isolated act, but something that affects all of creation. And more importantly, it points us to the need for restoration, something only God can accomplish. Another point the book highlights is the power of divine judgment. Enoch's prophecies about the fate of the righteous and the wicked invite us to reflect on how we are living. They challenge us to consider whether our choices align with God's will or whether we are following a path of rebellion. These messages, though ancient, are incredibly relevant today. Additionally, the Book of Enoch offers us a grand vision of God's majesty and the cosmos. Its descriptions of the heavens and celestial realms reinforce God's sovereignty over all creation and invite us to contemplate His greatness. Even though it is not part of the biblical canon, it calls us to value the Bible's central message, the plan of salvation and the promise of a new heaven and a new earth. Finally, the book reminds us of something crucial. God is always in control. Even in times of great corruption and difficulty, like in Enoch's days, God's justice and love remain constant. Its message can strengthen our faith and inspire us to walk closer to Him. Now reflect. The Book of Enoch is undoubtedly a text full of mysteries and revelations that make us ponder the great themes of spirituality, the struggle between good and evil, divine judgment, and God's majesty. Despite its exclusion from the biblical canon, it remains a fascinating piece for those who wish to deepen their understanding of biblical history and the beliefs of ancient times. Throughout this video, we have seen how Enoch lived so uniquely, walking with God during a period of great corruption. We explored the central themes of the book that bears his name: the fallen angels, the Nephilim, the forbidden teachings, and the impact of sin on creation. We also understood the reasons why the book was not included in the Bible and how it can still offer important lessons to strengthen our faith. However, the most important of all is that the Book of Enoch reminds us that even amidst chaos, God always has a perfect plan. He is sovereign, just, and compassionate. His central message, found throughout the Bible, calls us to draw closer to him, trust in his justice, and live according to his will. Now I ask you, what do you think about the book of Enoch? Is it just a historical record, or does it have something more to teach us about our spiritual journey? Share your opinion in the comments, as I would love to know your thoughts. And if this video touched your heart or helped you reflect, consider sharing this message and subscribing to the channel so we can continue exploring the great mysteries of the Bible together. May God bless your life and strengthen you in your spiritual walk.